Hello and welcome to At Discovery Canada. I'm Jay Ingram.
And I'm Jill Deacon. Also on tonight's show, a game of descending numbers. You'll have to watch your step if you want to win a prize for your mathematical prowess.
But first, an act of desperation that could turn into a medical breakthrough. In 1994, Debbie Stephan, an Alberta mother of 10, committed suicide. Her husband, Anthony, was devastated. Debbie had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, also called manic depressive illness. It's a common affliction thought to be caused by changing levels of chemicals in the brain. People with bipolar disorder can have huge mood swings. There's also a genetic component, and it seemed to run in the Stephan family. Anthony Stephan saw the same symptoms in his son and his daughter.
She had already been taking medication for over 4.5 years, and she was going to suicide. It wasn't helping. My son was on 900 milligrams of lithium per day and was absolutely out of control.
Stephan was desperate. A friend told him that his children's symptoms sounded like a nervous disorder that affects pigs, called ear and tail biting syndrome. Stephan found out that farmers cure the problem with a nutritional mineral supplement. He gave it to his kids. He says the improvement was dramatic. Stephan went on to give the supplement to 100 volunteers and later approached researchers at the University of Calgary. They tested the supplement, now called EM Power, on people with bipolar disorder. Yesterday, they announced the results of their study.
Standing by in Calgary is one of the authors of that study, Dr. Bonnie Kaplan. She's a professor of pediatrics at the University of Calgary. She joins us now from her lab at the Alberta Children's Hospital. Dr. Kaplan, tell us what your study showed.
Well, what it showed was that in 10 adult men who took this supplement called EM Power, there was enormous symptom improvement. They went from having huge highs and terrible lows to having much fewer or many fewer mood swings and more moderate mood swings.
All right, so these are people with bipolar depression. Can you maybe paint us a picture of what their lives would have been like with some of those highs and lows, those mood swings, before they started taking the supplement?
Right. A lot of these people are quite incapacitated by their mood swings. When they're manic, they are up for many nights, they're unable to work, they often make very foolish decisions, very impulsive decisions, spend a lot of money, do a lot of crazy things, and sometimes they're very irritable and aggressive. When they're low, they are very depressed, very lethargic, and again, unable to work and quite dysfunctional. And of course, in the worst case scenario, unfortunately, suicide can be an outcome and often is an outcome of bipolar disorder.
So then, can you describe some of the changes in those patterns that you saw following the taking of this EM Power supplement?
Well, in a word, they're much better. These are people who feel a lot more normal, who don't have the extreme highs and lows, and by and large, they're returning to more normal lives. We have people who are going back to school, we have people who are going back to work, who are being able to take on responsibilities that they haven't been able to take on before. It's very rewarding to see that kind of improvement.
Were there any side effects to taking it?
No, there don't seem to be any negative side effects by and large. The worst thing we've encountered is occasionally someone has a bit of nausea when they first start taking it. And in a couple of cases, they actually have cut back on the dose and worked up to the full dose more gradually, and the nausea is gone.
It sounds miraculous. I mean, what's going on here that a nutritional supplement is working? Yeah. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, it's not a miracle at all, but scientifically I think it's really, really interesting.
What is it about it that interests you?
Wondering how it would be working. We don't know. It's important for me to tell you that what I'm about to say is speculation. But it appears as if it is enabling these people's brains to work in a more normal range. And so they also, by the way, don't need the psychotropic medication that they used to need. In fact, in our case series of 10 patients, they were taking an average of 2.8 psychotropic meds when they started EM Power, and now they are down to an average of 1.0. That's a 2/3 reduction. We are not anti-medication. Many of these people need psychotropic medication. But to see them able to get along on less suggests that somehow we're restoring some of their normal brain function.
Now, enabling the brain to work in a better way, how?
Yeah. How? We really don't know. There are clues, and I do think you should get one of your neuroscientists in here for a comment or two about what we know about, for example, zinc and its role in the brain, and calcium, and vitamin B12, which has been shown to be associated with depressive mood states. Deficiencies in a lot of minerals and some vitamins probably is not a very good way to live. It probably doesn't make us able to cope with daily life very well. And we seem to be correcting for that by this supplement.
Dr. Kaplan, does that suggest a general link between nutrition and mental health?
I believe there is one, but the even more interesting thing to speculate about is the genetic basis, because some of the families that we've been working with have a very, very strong family history of bipolar disorder. And we know from the genetic research that there are predisposing genes. So if our data continue to look this good, what it suggests is that what the predisposing genes do might be in the realm of metabolic pathways that we can correct at the end point by a nutrient supplement. This isn't magic. I want to emphasize that. And these people still have bipolar disorder, and they still need to take their supplement. It's somehow correcting an imbalance that these people are predisposed to have.
So, Dr. Kaplan, what do you think people should take away from this study of yours?
Well, I'm hoping that it will open a lot of minds to look at supplements and look at the relationship between nutrient deficiency and mood state. Scientifically, that's the most important thing. Now, in terms of helping the people who are suffering now, this is a bigger challenge, because it is not possible to take this supplement and get better unless you are decreasing some psychotropic medications, and that requires a physician usually to be involved, and it's very complicated for individual patients.
So people shouldn't just go out and start popping nutritional supplements on their own?
Well, you can't actually buy this over the counter, because the people who have manufactured it are very concerned about harm coming to individuals who might start popping these pills on top of a full dose of psychotropic medication. They're behaving very responsibly in that regard.
Thank you very much for telling us about this tonight. Good to talk with you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Thanks. It's a pleasure.
Dr. Bonnie Kaplan is a professor of pediatrics at the University of Calgary. She joined us from Calgary.